Welcome to Deep Dive by the Quiet Footnote. Today, we're taking a journey, not across continents, but really within ourselves. We're unpacking a book that feels incredibly timely, almost profound. Pico Iyer's The Art of Stillness. I mean, in our world, this always-on, relentless world, the idea of stillness, it feels pretty radical, right? Maybe even impossible sometimes. So our mission for this deep dive, we want to pull out the really crucial bits of insight from Iyer's gentle but pretty powerful message, and also maybe debunk some common myths that keep us all running around, and try to understand why it's so startlingly relevant for you right now, especially with, the pace of modern life and AI speeding everything up.
Yeah, and that's exactly what makes his work so compelling, I think. He writes like someone who's seen maybe one too many airports, too many hotel rooms, too many rushed sites. And through all that external travel, he kind of realized the richest journey, well, isn't across the globe. It's within a single moment.
Yeah.
His main argument, and it sounds simple at first, is that real fulfillment, maybe genuine clarity, it might actually lie in being still, not just, rushing past your own life, but actually pausing long enough to properly live it. It's this fascinating paradox, isn't it, coming from a lifelong travel writer. The deepest journey he ends up advocating is inward.
That really is a paradox. Going nowhere. I mean, to a lot of us, that sounds like doing nothing. And doing nothing feels, well, deeply unproductive in the world today. So what's the core truth then? What's Iyer actually asking us to do with that stillness? What's really at the heart of his message that makes it different from just, being idle?
That's such a crucial distinction, yeah. At its core, Iyer's idea of stillness is absolutely not about quitting life or, retreating from the world completely. He's not saying sell everything and go sit on a mountaintop or anything, though he definitely draws inspiration from people who do that. Instead, it's more about cultivating these brief pauses of presence. That's his phrase. Think of them like deliberate, conscious stops, little moments where you just choose to stop, maybe breathe, and then, this is key, you return to life. But you return with sharper eyes, maybe a steadier heart. So it's an active return, right? An engagement with the world from a renewed place, not just hiding away. He has that famous line, in an age of constant movement, nothing is more urgent than sitting still. The real insight there, I think, is that this call to go nowhere, it isn't about absence at all. It's about a really profound kind of presence that makes everything else better.
Okay, I can see that. For someone maybe juggling creativity, ambition, and just that constant background hum of modern life, I guess Iyer's book is less like a strict prescription and maybe more like a permission slip. Permission to just let silence sit next to you for a minute without rushing to fill it up. Permission to maybe take a walk without headphones or just work deeply but also stop deeply and not feel guilty about it.
Precisely, exactly that. And if you listen really closely, there's this kind of unheard message under the gentle prose, and it's actually incredibly bold, almost confrontational in a quiet way. Stillness isn't a luxury, it's survival. That's the vibe I get. It's like the doorway to noticing that you're already whole, that you probably already possess whatever it is you're frantically looking for outside yourself. He really nudges us, I think, to see that our deepest crisis isn't just being busy or distracted or even burnt out. It's that we are, maybe, running from ourselves, actively avoiding that quiet meeting with our own thoughts, our feelings. So stillness, then, becomes about having the bravery, really, to meet yourself without distraction, to see what's actually there when all the noise finally stops. Just imagine for a second, not instantly reaching for your phone when you feel bored or a bit uncomfortable, that tiny little space. That's where the self-discovery starts, maybe.
Wow, yeah, that really hits home. So if stillness is survival, what was the underlying cultural illness that Iyer was diagnosing? What made him feel this message was so desperately needed when he first wrote the book? What problem was he really seeing?
Well, he saw a world that seemed profoundly addicted to motion. Physical motion, yeah, but also digital motion, even mental motion. Just constant churning. We're always plugged into devices, news feeds, social media, this endless stream of messages. And it leaves precious little room for any kind of inner quiet, right? Plus, there's this pervasive obsession with productivity. Rest has somehow been recast as laziness, so doing nothing feels almost like a moral failing. And even our travel, it can become so superficial. We rush across the globe, ticking places off a list, but we rarely pause long enough to actually experience genuine depth, to really absorb a moment or a culture. Iyer, as someone who traveled the world over and over, he saw firsthand how all this motion often just hides a deeper personal stagnation. It's not about moving, it's about being moved by something.
That's such a powerful point. We celebrate the explorers, the innovators, the disruptors, the go-getters, all that outward stuff, but we rarely talk about the the foundational need for stillness that actually fuels clarity and imagination in the first place.
Exactly. There are tons of guides on how to do more, go faster, achieve higher. We all see them.
Yep.
The missing piece, the sort of cultural gap he's addressing, is a guide on how to pause, how to honor stillness as essential, not just, optional. He's really tackling what he calls the silent crisis of restlessness, that's inability of modern humans to simply be. And he reframes stillness not as retreating from life, but as a richer, more engaged way of actually living it. It's about finding that inner calm so you can better navigate all the external chaos.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me. Beyond just the idea of stillness itself, Iyer really challenges some of our fundamental assumptions about how we live, doesn't he? What are some of those really pervasive myths about modern life that he just kind of dismantles?
Oh, he really does. He quietly slices through several core beliefs that we often hold without even realizing it. First, there's myth one. Movement equals meaning. We're sort of programmed to think the more you travel, the more places you see, the more alive or cultured you must be. Iyer's counter is basically that constant motion can be just as shallow as constant scrolling on your phone. The profound insight here, I think, is that meaning isn't produced by external action. It's discovered through internal attention. It's a shift from doing to being, which totally redefines achievement. Then there's myth two. Busyness equals productivity. We believe juggling tasks, packing our calendars, working crazy long hours, that somehow proves our value. He argues that busyness can actually be a pretty sophisticated form of avoidance, and that doing less, but doing it with deeper focus, can often lead to accomplishing way more of what truly matters.
Oh, that resonates so much. It's like we've been trained to equate full calendars with full lives. But okay, for someone whose actual livelihood depends on a full calendar, how does Iyer reconcile that need for stillness with the real demands of modern work? Does he offer practical ways to integrate this without, sacrificing ambition?
Right, good question. He doesn't advocate for just abandoning ambition, not at all.
Hmm.
It's more about refining it. His point is that true productivity, the kind that leads to meaningful results, comes from clarity, not just frantic activity. So, for that person with a packed calendar, he might suggest something simple, like carving out just 10 or 15 minutes a day, maybe at the very start or the end of the workday, to just sit. No agenda, no phone, no emails, no to-do lists. Just a moment to let thoughts settle, see what rises to the surface. It's about bringing a sharper intention to your work, rather than just constantly reacting to it.
That makes a lot of sense. Simple, but maybe powerful. And what other myths does he tackle?
Well, he also goes after myth three. Connectivity equals connection. We assume being constantly online, plugged into feeds and messages, means we're genuinely connected. Iyer suggests that digital connection, ironically, can leave us feeling more fragmented, even lonelier. His insight is that true connection, whether it's to other people or even to ourselves, it really begins with presence, not just constant communication back and forth. And he also addresses myth four. Silence equals emptiness. We often see quiet as boring, right? Or unproductive, wasted time, something to be filled immediately with noise or distraction. His counter is that silence is actually profoundly fertile. It fuels creativity, gratitude, clarity. He uses that really powerful example of Leonard Cohen. Cohen retreated to a Zen monastery for years. And that deep silence didn't make him disappear. It actually deepened his artistry, stripped away the superficial stuff, and gave this incredible depth to his music.
Cohen's example is really powerful, yeah, but it also feels kind of extreme, maybe. For those of us who, can't just retreat to a Zen monastery for years, what's a scaled-down, everyday version of that fertile silence Iyer suggests?
It's totally about micro moments. It really is. It could be as simple as making your commute a silent time instead of always having a podcast or music on. Or maybe just looking out the window for 5 minutes after you finish a task before immediately jumping to the next thing. It could be intentionally eating one meal a day without any screens nearby. Iyer suggests these small acts of disengagement, these little pockets of quiet, are the building blocks of that fertile silence. It's a common observation, isn't it, that many breakthroughs in science or art didn't come from frantic activity. They came from a quiet walk, or a dream, or even just staring out the window blankly. Iyer reminds us those supposedly wasted moments are often the most fertile ones.
It's a great perspective, actually. It makes it feel much more accessible. Any other big myths he takes on?
Yes, a couple more key ones. He debunks myth 5. Stillness equals escape from life. There's this misconception that sitting still is about withdrawal, like running away from responsibility or the world's problems. Iyer argues stillness is actually recalibration, not retreat. It allows you to return to life sharper, calmer, more attuned, ready to engage more effectively, not less. And finally, myth 6. Happiness comes from more. This pervasive idea that more experiences, more possessions, more achievements will bring greater joy. His counter is that more can actually be a trap. Enough is where real fulfillment often lives. And that simplifying usually brings a richer, more profound kind of peace.
Okay, this raises a really important question for me. I wrote this book, what, almost a decade ago now, but it feels even sharper today. How is his message not just relevant, but maybe urgent in 2025, especially with AI accelerating everything?
Oh, it's become nothing less than a survival strategy, I'd say. Seriously. We've moved beyond just dealing with emails and early smartphone distractions. Now we're in what you might call the algorithmic age of distraction. We're talking TikTok reels, endless scrolls, AI-curated feeds, systems literally designed to hijack our focus, keep us perpetually restless. So stillness now is an active, conscious resistance against these incredibly powerful forces.
Yeah.
Then there's the culture of speed and burnout. It's just escalated, hasn't it? Hustle culture is treated like a virtue, burnout is almost a badge of honor, and rest often comes with this heavy side of guilt. Iyer's stillness is like medicine for anyone feeling like they're drowning in deadlines and constant comparison. It's a way to stop the self from being completely consumed.
It really does feel like the pace has just doubled or tripled even. So when we talk about stillness being medicine for drowning in deadlines, how does Iyer suggest we even begin to administer that dose in such a relentlessly fast environment?
It starts, I think, with understanding that you don't compete with the machine on its own terms. You just can't. As AI accelerates absolutely everything work, creativity, decision-making, the huge temptation is to just try and keep up, process faster, generate more. But machines never pause, do they? Humans must. Iyer's work really reveals that our unique human value isn't in competing with AI on speed or sheer output. It's in cultivating the very things AI can't replicate. Deep reflection, empathy, intuition. Those insights born only from moments of unhurried human stillness. This is the whole AI acceleration and the need for human pause piece. Stillness is precisely what keeps us human, in a way. It allows us to process, to reflect, find meaning, and make truly human-centric decisions in a world that often feels like it's just spinning faster and faster out of control.
Yeah, if you connect that to the bigger picture, it seems really clear. In 2025, stillness isn't some luxury retreat anymore. It's resistance. It's resilience. Maybe it's even a form of redemption. It's about reclaiming our humanity, finding our unique edge in this increasingly machine-driven world. So, okay, let's bring this home. What does all this mean for you, the listener? We've tried to distill Iyer's wisdom down into maybe 5 key principles, things he hopes readers will really internalize and carry forward, like a practical stillness toolkit.
Yeah, these are like the core truths he subtly wants to embed in how you think about life. Number one, stillness is not withdrawal, but renewal. Taking time to pause isn't running away. It's intentionally stepping back so you can return refreshed. Sharper eyes, steadier nerves, deeper engagement. It actually makes you more effective. Two, going nowhere can be the greatest journey. In our constant quest for external achievements, new places, we often forget the vast inner landscape. Travel and accomplishment can feel empty without inner reflection. The boldest adventure is often inward. Three, attention is your most precious resource. Seriously, in an age designed to fracture your focus, reclaiming silence and stillness is an active, necessary act of survival. It lets you direct your mental energy instead of having it constantly hijacked. Four, silence is fuel for creativity and clarity. Great art, great ideas, great lives. They often need moments of deep quiet. Like we talked about with Leonard Cohen, these aren't empty spaces. They are fertile ground where insights grow and understanding deepens. And five, less can lead to more. That constant chase for busyness, noise, accumulation. It doesn't actually equal fulfillment. Iyer's insight is that deliberate pauses, committing to simplicity, embracing the idea of enough that often brings the richest, most sustainable kind of happiness.
And if we had to boil the whole book down to one sharp sentence, a core message for you to carry away, it might be this. The Art of Stillness is a gentle but pretty radical reminder that in a world of endless motion, our deepest journeys and richest discoveries often come not from going everywhere, but simply from being fully here.
And Iyer's quiet authority on this, it isn't just theoretical, is it? It's really born from his own decades as a global travel writer, his time spent with monks in Kyoto, his deep thinking on figures like Cohen, who found such depth and quiet. He's not just theorizing. He's lived the paradox he writes about. That makes his advice feel incredibly resonant, I bet.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, The Art of Stillness leaves us with a really provocative thought. It's a line Iyer himself cites from Proust. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. It's really a call, isn't it, to consider that the greatest frontier might not be outward, but inward. It kind of asks us to pause and reflect. Are you so focused on the outward world that maybe you're missing out on your own inner landscape? Be still long enough to find out who's actually living your life. That's your journey to explore.